Okay, hang on, let me work on that. Has anyone else been able to find the submit button that I was just asking people if they were able to turn their piece in? It should be through that assignment.
I turned mine in, but now it's showing up another assignment.
What do you mean? Hang on, let me let everyone in.
Will I get points off?
I would not, again, when we're working with technical issues like how to get something turned in and it's not working, et cetera, I'm always going to give you guys the break because it's not normal. So I'm going to do everything I can to take care of you and accommodate, any of these issues that we're having. So don't worry too much. I really appreciate that we're all trying to get this done. My problem is that I just can't see, even when I do student view, exactly what you see. And I haven't checked this assignment yet to see if some people have been able to turn things in. So in my mind, let's see, here we are. You should be turning this assignment in through this assignment. And this assignment should have a submit button on your side. Does that make sense?
Submit button, but like there's two of them instead of one. So should I submit it to both?
Hang on, are there two assignments?
Yeah.
Okay, this is because the system's so slow. Every time I generate these, they don't show up. So then I end up making another, and then that gets in there. And the moment people are answering both, I can't get rid of one. Hang on, let me just let people in. It's not easy on this side of the desk either.
Oh, I see the submit button now.
Yay! That's a wonderful, that's great news. Because when you send them to me, my problem is organizing them, making sure that I count everyone that I've received. They don't end up in the right place.
No,
So when it goes through the portal, it's always much better organized for me. But I know it's difficult. I know it's a little tricky, and even I get confused. And I know that, like I'm saying about the technology from my side, I know on your side too, students are saying, I'm not sure you're going to get my assignment, so I'm nervous, so I want to email it to you too. But it's just, it's like me doubling the assignments. So let me quickly, I'm going to admit Caleb. Oh, we lost Caleb. Oh. There he is. I thought I lost you there, Caleb. Jubeni?
Hello?
Hi. Is that the way I should be pronouncing your name? I was just a little confused.
Yeah, you got it right.
Jubeni.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. It's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Luckily, I speak French. Channel. Welcome, welcome. We were discussing how to turn in our assignment, which is hopefully going through this portal. If you have any questions, other students seem to have been able to do it. But I know it can be very confusing, so don't worry about asking questions. There is a warm-up for today. If you look in modules, ideally I'm setting these up so that they're going to have our date on them. So there's just a little warm-up, and then we're going to have another day with, we're going to have a presentation about innovation and invention, which is starting to get into the good stuff. And then we're going to have that little vocabulary quiz at the end. With luck, we'll have time to do that in class, and then you will all be free. Okay, we're 5 minutes in. I hate to say we're missing a lot of students. But let's get started. Okay. Oh, look, there's someone. Henry. Welcome, Henry. So good to see you. So, okay, I think we're going to get started now. It's about 5 minutes in, and people are not flowing in. So I think we're in good shape. There is a warm-up today right here. If you go into your modules, this is what we're doing today, the FOT 922. We've got a little warm-up. Then we're going to go through a presentation and do a little vocabulary quiz. Okay. There's Alonzo. I don't know why I'm not hearing people come in. There's usually a second little set of chimes. There's my team. Okay, some people seem to be able to not have a name on their black square. The least you could do is give me a name. Also, a picture of you is nice. It's always fun for me to see my students. I would hope that you'd like to see me too, but we're working on being non-threatening and part of the team. So let's go ahead. Everybody had a chance to do the warm-up, I'm assuming. It's pretty straightforward. The warm-ups are just to get us back into the mindset of where we were last time. So who would like to answer question 1? Is the Bronze Age, oh, look, there's a fresh one. Let's see. Good morning, Emily. You need to close your ears and look at our warm-up because I'm about to go over it. So for the warm-up, question 1 was, which came first, the Bronze Age or the Iron Age? Can someone share out their answer either in the chat or just unmute yourself?
The Bronze Age came first.
Bronze Age came first, correct. There's another Bronze Age. Oh, Emily's having technical difficulties. I empathize. This week has been very good for me so far. Last week on Monday, my computer itself crashed twice and it has never crashed in its life. So don't worry. Anybody else with a guess on Bronze Age, Iron Age, which came first?
Iron Age.
There's an Iron Age. I think you're just saying that because I'm asking again.
No.
Bronze Age came before the Iron Age. So it goes Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age. Why is the difference between the Bronze Age and the Iron Age significant? Can anyone say why the Iron Age was sort of a response to the Bronze Age? A technological response.
Because everyone had to like pass down information through like their genes instead of like talking and writing stuff down.
That's a great point. That's not exactly this transition. That's the idea sort of Stone Age and civilization. Once you had the development of language, the idea that you could enshrine knowledge in language and be able to pass it down to the next generations and not have it be genetic, the way that you learn how to forage for food, how to mate, those kinds of things. This is more, think of technology. The Bronze Age and, hang on, there's Helen. Oh, no, we've lost Helen for a minute. So the Bronze Age was the first time that man had been able to figure out a metal that he could melt and work relatively easily. That's why they made bronze, was bronze made copper, adding tin to copper made the mix melt at a much lower temperature. High temperatures were hard to attain back in those primitive times. So the Bronze Age, again, our culture as Homo sapiens tended towards, warfare and conquest as we are developing in civilization. So the Bronze Age brought a lot of developments in terms of weapons, weaponry, devices. I think the chariot came in the Bronze Age. But why is the Iron Age? Oh, Helen, you have your hand up?
Yeah, because it kicked me out 2 times. I thought.
I'm so sorry don't worry, I'll just keep letting you back in.
Yeah.
In theory, I don't know what's happening, whether it's your internet or whether Zoom's having issues. It's a big question these days, where are the problems occurring? Is it at our house or is it on the servers, back at Fabulous Zoom? So just keep coming back in. I've got 2 screens now, so I should be able to let you in.
Mr. Swift, also, I only got one warm-up question. Like, I only got one of the warm-up. Like, I thought the warm-up question was, what do you think the person looks like in Zoom? But then you said the warm-up question is Bronze Age or Iron Age, and I didn't get that warm-up question. Okay,
so hang on. Now, I'm presenting, right? So you guys are seeing this. If I go into the 902 warm-up, of course I don't see it, but I get a preview. So the preview has question 1 and question 2. Is that not what you're seeing?
No.
Because part of my problem is when I create these things, I am new at creating these. So it looks like what it's supposed to be from my end, but I can never quite tell what you're seeing on your end.
No, I haven't now.
Quiz instructions. Helen could be looking at the warm-up from last class. It sounds like that's what she was describing, but I was able to access this warm-up.
Okay, so that's the idea. Again, these warm-ups are not big points. They are practice and whatever. Just do your best, but do try and access the, what I would do when you come to class is open up modules and scroll down to today's date. Ideally, I will always have a module in here with what we're going to be doing. I'm going to work at getting the week's modules in here early. Again, I am just playing a lot of catch up. So today we've got the warm up and then we've got this thing, and the way these are structured, again, I'm inheriting these, this course, that in this, there is both the presentation here. If I click on this, it takes me to the presentation. And then this is the quiz, invention and innovation, same classic quiz we've been doing. Just, what's the word of the day? What does that word mean? Can you show me an image of that word? And since today is invention and innovation, I'm guessing you can think of what our vocabulary words are. So that's why I'm trying to discuss the warm-up, is just that it's interesting and it's a fun technological situation. So the Bronze Age created a lot of bronze weaponry, a lot of bronze armor. It created the chariot. Why is the Iron Age considered a response to the Bronze Age? If the Bronze Age created a lot of weaponry and defensive weaponry like armor made out of bronze. What's the difference between bronze and iron? Somebody want to share out in the chat or just unmute yourself?
Bronze is weaker.
Bronze is weaker. Iron is harder and stronger, possibly a little more brittle than bronze. But iron weapons could defeat bronze weapons. Iron swords could break bronze swords. Iron-tipped arrows could penetrate bronze armor, particularly crossbows with bolts. They are very strong, but you needed iron to be able to penetrate the bronze or break the bronze because it's just a stronger metal. So that's really why I say the Iron Age is a response to the Bronze Age. The idea that iron could defeat bronze weaponry. And that's how innovation is going to happen. We're going to talk about this a lot today. So, okay, you've got a bronze sword. That's the greatest thing man has ever seen or built as a weapon. Over time, you're going to think about, how can I improve this? What are the problems with my bronze sword? My bronze sword does not hold up as well as I'd like in a sword fight. My bronze armor tends to get dinked in battle. How can I improve that? How can I make this better? Where are the problems with my armor? You know, typically the weakest spots of armor are right in the arms, right where the arms connect. So those are things that we're thinking about just in terms of technology and the way technology works. So question 2, I believe, is which period did fishing tackle and bows get invented? Because they had to be invented. We're going to be going over this next, the difference between invention and innovation, because they never existed before. Does anyone remember what period the bow and fishing tackle were invented in?
The Stone Age.
The Stone Age. Congratulations, Emily. It was a little tricky because it's not that we have those 2 ages that we were looking at that weren't labeled specifically the Stone Age. So this is that last 10,000 year period. Where is my? So it's that last period of the Stone Age before you start getting into the Bronze Age. So that's when things really start to heat up in terms of Homo sapiens starting to develop civilizations, starting to branch out from being a hunter-gatherer to an agrarian. All these things are slowly happening. Okay, so that is great. So before we get into the lecture, how does everyone feel about their projects? Is everyone going to be able to hand their project in today? Does anyone need more time? What are the problems you were encountering? Or is there anything else I can help you with in terms of your projects?
I just had a question.
Yes.
So there are 2 places to turn it in. There's like 2 assignments, and
Okay.
I only submitted it on one of them.
All right, this is a stupid problem of mine, and let me take a quick look
Okay.
and see if I can figure this out for us. This is that when I create the assignments, you know, fabulous MyMCPS does not generate them for a while, and I'm always convinced. Okay, so here, let me, so annoying. Okay, there are assignments in here. All right, I'm sorry. So we're just, you're getting a behind the doors look at how I figure this out. So my problem is that once there are 2, I think people have submitted to both.
If I only submitted to one, will it still count? Or do I have to do it with both?
No. You just need to submit to one.
Okay.
So that's no problem. That basically I will go through both and then I'll have to conform the two because it's my mistake. But they
Okay.
are showing different things, so I can't delete them. So
Okay.
just remember, you know, ideally submit to the one on top if you're going through assignments or through the one that's in the module, but I will be checking both of these for content. So that's
Okay.
fine. Don't worry that you've lost it. I just can't get rid of one now because people have already submitted to it. And that's
Okay.
my,
Thank you.
no worries. Okay, let's get into our fabulous presentation today. So today,
Well,
we're looking at technological problem solving, if you remember that from last time, with invention and innovation. Think of those two words. Those are our big vocabulary words for the day. Invention and innovation. Invention and innovation. What is the difference, you ask? Haha, a big one. Hang on, well, let me go back here. Let me just talk to the class for a moment. Does someone want to unmute themselves and say what they think invention is?
Something that's been structured.
Hang on. That's all right, go ahead.
Wait, something that has been structured or made, like man-made.
Something that has been structured or made. That's a good idea. Why is it an invention and not an innovation?
Because it was man-made.
It's the idea that you're the first one to make it. That this is the first time whatever the item is has ever been created. Invention is in creating something new where there was nothing before. Can somebody give me what their idea of innovation is?
I think innovation means to improve something that's already created.
Correct. An innovation takes an invention, and a thing that I think we'll touch on in the lecture is that not only are you creating a better version of that invention, but you are trying to bring that invention to market. That inventors are not necessarily the best business people. That they can invent things and create them, but how to get them to market, how to get people to actually buy into the idea that their invention is needed, worthwhile, etc. That goes into innovation and marketing. Marketing is a big part of invention and getting people to adopt an invention. You'll see something I read preparing for this is very sad that like Rudolf Diesel, the inventor of the diesel engine, committed suicide in 1913 because he thought no one would ever use his invention. That he was that disappointed that at the time he invented it, no one was buying in. That's how invested these people are. And lo and behold, you know, all of Europe runs on diesels. You know, the diesel engine has just been a mainstay of American transportation. But he didn't know that at the time. It's like artists. Great artists are often not understood in their time. All right, so let's continue with this. Invention is discovering something new or novel, something brand new. Innovation is taking that invention and making it into a commercially viable product, service, or business. I would say this definition of innovation is tailored to our course, that I think innovation doesn't have to have a commercial side to it. But what we're talking about in terms of innovation is taking that invention from the inventor and turning it into a viable commercial product. Providing the services needed for it, providing the business outlet. It's a complex organization. Invention is the practice of coming up with something new. Innovation, however, is delivering something new to a market that wants it. See, some markets don't even know that they want it. My ancestors invented the cash register. And the problem was no one had ever had a cash register before. So they didn't need it. They'd always gotten through with a cigar box full of money and a little slip that they wrote down their transactions on, nobody wanted a cash register. They didn't know that they needed it. So that's where innovation comes, is helping people to understand why they need an invention. In other words, innovation is figuring out how to take something new and actually bring it to market successfully. Inventors and innovation are among the most open-ended and creative problem-solving approaches. Unlike other forms of problem solving that deal with things already in existence, invention launches into the unknown and the untried. There's a great quote of Edison after he finally invents the light bulb, that it took him 1,000 tries to invent the light bulb. And what his response to all that failure was, now I know 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. But he figured out the one way that worked. So that's what it means by you're launching into the unknown and untried. No one has ever done what you're trying to do before. So you need to give yourself a break. You need to accept failure. What they say often is fail early. Fail early in the process so that you know that's not a viable line to pursue, and then you can focus on better ones. Invention is the process of coming up with new ideas, while design is concerned with applying these ideas. Okay, let's go through some of these inventions. I want to make sure that you all can recognize them. Okay, who has an idea of what invention one is here? It looks like a cabinet, but has like steel shelves and a steel interior. What is that?
A fridge.
Is it a fridge?
That's an ice box. It is not a refrigerator. It is an ice box because the way it refrigerates is you put a big block of ice right here, and that keeps everything cold. A refrigerator, in theory, uses a refrigerant, which is like ammonia gas, to cool itself. This is technically an ice box. Okay, these guys here, that should be pretty easy. Who has an idea what the next thing to the right of the ice box is? What are these?
Baseball bat.
Baseball bats. Apparently baseball bats have been innovated over time. Now here is a good one. Do you know what this woman is doing with her hot point? What that is?
Washing clothes.
That is a washing machine, exactly. That is for washing clothes, and that is a wringer up top. The only effective way that we had for drying the washing that we had done back in this is like 1950s, late 40s, early 50s. The only way to get your washing dry after you'd washed it was to put it through a wringer. The wringer is a set of 2 rollers that you would run your garment through, and it would squeeze all the water out of it. So when they say to run you through the wringer, that's what they mean. It means you're going to come out like a cartoon, all squished, totally flat. Now this one is quite fun. This is before plumbing. So what is this one in the upper corner?
A bathtub?
That's a bathtub, but is there any plumbing for it?
No, do you just like dump out the water like in the wheel, like using the wheels? If you roll it out?
I mean, that's a great question. I'm guessing it probably has a plug in it, because I don't think it looks designed to lift up the front and dump the water out the back. But that's a great question. Where does the water go? Ideally, this is before there was plumbing and you needed a tub, and so I guess you kept that in the shed and you'd pull it out for Saturday bath night. Now this one down here, I hate to say, I used up until this year, for 14 years at my house, I used, what is this?
A lawnmower.
Right, that's called a reel lawnmower. It's just a hand-powered lawnmower. You walk behind it, when the wheels turn, it makes this reel spin, and it cuts against a steel break. Great. Those are all very old, funky inventions. On the other hand, innovation is an improvement of an existing product, system, or method of doing something. So here we have the beautiful French doors, double freezer, fabulous refrigerator, the Easton aluminum baseball bat, the stackable front-loading washer dryer, which seems to be the state of the art these days. I am going to give a brand name to the bathroom that looks like one of your Cole install in one day bathrooms. Okay, here's a funny question. What's the problem with the picture of our bathtub? There's a problem with that picture, just like the old school. What's that?
There's no like it's the bathtub, but you don't see like where the water would come
There's
out.
no plumbing. Once again,
Yeah.
apparently we're having to fill this tub with buckets. But that's how you did it in the old days, was that you literally had to carry buckets of cold water and hot water into your bath and fill the bathtub. And that's why people only had a bath maybe once a week or once a month. It was a smelly world. The Renaissance in particular, that's why perfume was invented. You know, and this is your fabulous Honda souped up lawnmower. Mine's electric. It's much nicer just to be able to poke a button and have it start. Okay.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
I had a question.
Sure.
So in the earlier slides, we defined innovation as like basically taking the invention and taking it to like market, I guess. But right here, we defined it as like improving the said invention. So is the definition like a mix of both, or am I like?
As I would say, I think it would be interesting. When we're done with this, let's look up some definitions, and I should have done that beforehand. I feel that these definitions are being tailored to our course. To me, an innovation is a new development to an old idea, right? In my mind, innovation does not have anything. I don't think of innovation as bringing something to market. Those are innovations, and that is innovative, but I don't feel that that is what innovation is defined as, yet that is what this course is wanting to push us towards. So for the moment, think of like technology. Technology has a lot of definitions. An innovation is adding something to something that already exists. At its simplest form, that is what an innovation is. In its more advanced forms, or for our purposes, we're going to be calling innovation adding something to an item and helping to make it commercially viable, to make it to bring it to market. Let's work on our definition as we go through here. But I appreciate your insights, and you are totally correct that these definitions are a little broad or a little vague, and that they seem to be saying different things. So by the end of today, let's figure out an answer that we like. Okay, I have a fun video, so I want to get through these. Okay, so we've done them. Creativity, in addition to the ability to think outside the box and imagine new possibilities, is central to the process of invention and innovation. All technological products and systems first existed in the human imagination. You can't invent something unless you have an idea of what it is or what you're trying to create. That's also true with goals. You should always try and think up goals for yourself for the following year. You know, this is like your New Year's resolution, but write them down. You as a Homo sapien accomplish goals, but if you don't have goals, they tend to go unaccomplished. So writing down your goals is a great way to fix them in your mind, and you'd be surprised at how often you can attain that goal once you have it written down and fixed in your mind. So, technological innovation often results when ideas, knowledge, or skills are shared within a technology, among technologies, or across fields. Now that kind of makes sense given what we've been talking about. When people, so technological innovation often results when ideas, knowledge, or skills are shared with fellow technologists within a technology, among technologies, or across fields. These ideas, my ideas, spark your ideas. You use the beginning, the invention ideas as a springboard to your innovation. So they say we all, scientists stand on the shoulders of the great ones that came before them. We build on the knowledge of others. So technological innovation results when people who understand similar technological ideas are introduced to something new and they augment it. That is how innovation works. You're augmenting a previously existing idea. The sharing of knowledge about irrigation techniques, for instance, can enable developing countries to try out new ideas and make innovative adjustments to their current systems to improve the delivery of water. When people who have been working trying to irrigate find new techniques and new ways of irrigation, they tend to be able to A, employ those technologies, but also B, improve those technologies because they already have a lot of knowledge about the field and something might occur to them that didn't occur to the initial inventor. In the grand scheme of things, it's not hard to see why innovation should be more important than invention. I'm not sure I agree with that, since it's really innovation that helps drive progress and make things better for people. That's the idea that the person selling your records should make all the money because you just have the patent, you have the copyright of your song, but they're the ones that are really selling it to the public. That doesn't really seem equitable to me to say that inventors are less than the people who innovate on their inventions, because the innovators couldn't create the invention in the first place. Creating an invention is very difficult. So that's just my personal bias. I would say innovators are possibly more important to making an invention commercially viable. So they're saying it's innovation that helps drive progress and make things better for us. They are the driver. The inventors may not be pushing their product. Innovators are pushing products. They are trying to hook you and get you to want this and then buy it. An invention without the corresponding innovation is somewhat useless. What they mean by that is the idea that, like, say, the Egyptians in about 3500 created and used pneumatic tubes, that they created devices that were machines that worked on steam through pneumatic tubes. That knowledge was lost for about 800 years. Nobody really understood that the Egyptians had done that. Oh, looks like Hillary got bounced out. Let me make sure. I'm pretty positive she was here before. Yes, welcome back. So if somebody doesn't innovate the invention, if someone doesn't expose the public to an invention, it can often stay unknown and unused, even if it's incredibly helpful to you. Like every company today has, every business has a cash register. Everyone out there, they all do. Back in the 1900s, that was not true. There wasn't a single cash register out there. But it was through a significant and pointed marketing effort to make the world aware of what the cash register could do for you as a business person and why it was essential that you have one. The funny thing with the cash register was the biggest selling point of it was the bell. When you rang up a sale, it rang a bell. The proprietor was often in the back room and couldn't see whether their salesperson had made an actual transaction, and everything was cash back then. So when they come out of the back room, they ask the salesperson, did we make a lot of sales today? Salesperson say, oh no, we only made one. But he would have pocketed the cash from 5 other sales. When they had to ring up the sale, the owner could hear the bell ring 5 or 6 times during the day and know there should be money in the till. That was a big innovation for store owners. Invention is a process of turning ideas and imagination into devices and systems. Innovation is the process of modifying an existing product or system to improve it. Now that seems like a real definition of innovation. Innovation is the process of modifying an existing product or system to improve it. I would guess that sometimes when you innovate, you don't improve it, you might make it worse, but it's that process of trying to improve it. All technological refinement occurs through the process of innovation. Once a product has been invented, you're innovating, not reinventing. Even, I'm guessing, I don't know where it would come if you're creating something new that's never been done as an addition to the product. We'll work on that. For me, let's see where we are at the end of this. I like these definitions for invention and innovation. Invention is a process of turning ideas and imagination into devices and systems. That seems very basic and straightforward. Innovation is the process of modifying an existing product or system to improve it. Let's see. So I don't know that this is going to help us to do as a group. This is just, here's some examples of inventions and innovations. So Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Now we have portable hand phones. I can't think of who invented the automobile. Anybody know who invented the automobile? It's not Henry Ford. I'm vaguely guessing it's a Frenchman or something. But so you had the original, that's not even a Model T. And now you have minivans. You have, this is probably a Dutch oven, or I guess no, it's an old barbecue versus the Weber. Look at how similar that is. We haven't done a lot of innovating on the Weber kettle. Just a big old kettle full of coal seems to work pretty well. I'm guessing this is Mr. Marconi and the radio, or maybe that is a television. I'm guessing that is television. Now we have flat screens. The VHS, now you have the DVD, the floppy disk versus the thumb drive, you know, old-fashioned keys versus modern keys. It looks like flooding versus dams, but I'm going to say an earthen dam versus a concrete dam. Okay, so to summarize, an invention is the conception of a new and useful article, machine, composition, process, or system. An innovation is the creation or introduction of something new to an already existing invention, product, idea, or system. I'm fine with those. I understand the desire to say that innovation is what takes us to market, and I think that is probably true. But I think for the moment, while we're doing our vocabulary test, let's stick with the simplest definitions. So invention is the creation of something 100% new. The conception of a new and useful article. I don't think it even has to be useful. An invention is an invention. So you really do need to be careful with language. Language is very specific. If something isn't useful, is it not an invention? If it's not useful to you, but it's useful to me, do we draw a line? I don't think so. An invention is the conception of a new article, machine, composition, process, or system. Useful does not belong in there. An innovation is the creation or introduction of something new to an already existing invention, product, idea, or system. Examples of invention include the phone, car, charcoal grill, television, etc. Examples of innovation of inventions listed above would be the cell phone, the hybrid car, the portable gas grill. That's funny, they showed a Weber in there. The flat screen television, the flash drive, the magnetic key card, although they didn't show us that. An invention without the corresponding innovation is somewhat useless in that it can language. Okay, I think we're through everything we're thinking about invention and innovation. Does anyone have any particular questions? Somebody wrote in the comments a great idea. Turning an invention into a good or service that creates value. Innovations ideally are creating value, that they are creating a better version of the invention and are going to serve man, writ broadly, more beneficially. Okay, so here's our invention is the wheel, our innovation of the wheel, the automobile. The invention, I can't think of what they call those bikes. It's like a silver dollar halfpenny bike. That's what the wheels are like. Versus your modern carbon fiber racing bike. Here's Mr. Edison, one of our greatest inventors. Innovation. There is a way to do it better. Find it. So what's this person doing? What's our cartoon here? What's the innovation that they found? Somebody want to write in the chat or unmute themselves? What's the innovation in this cartoon?
A
I
boat?
guess some form of a boat.
It's more than that. Look at what is he standing in?
Umbrella.
An umbrella. He decided that, gee, if the umbrella keeps the water off my head, it should keep the water off my feet too if I stand in it. I do not believe this works and would not advise that you try it. But that's the idea. You have an idea that nobody else has thought of or followed through on in the world. That's a big problem for us. We have these brilliant $1 million ideas, but then we don't take advantage of them. So that's it. That's it for our lecture. Now I have something very fun for us. Let me get back to, so now we're going to watch a video that I actually had a hand in making, and you're going to tell me, is this an invention or is it an innovation? Okay?
The video itself or what's in the video?
Oh, you'll see. So what the video is about, you'll see. Come on, guys, why am I in here? Oh, that's why, because Chrome has shifted over. There, let's get out of there, into here. Okay, so this is from PBS NewsHour. This is the group that I used to work with. Hang on, let's get this in the right place. Come on, I'm just gonna go. I hate to share my desktop. It's always a little scary. Come on, guys. Okay, are you seeing this full screen?
No.
No?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good.
About a young girl who's been given the
Hang on.
Finally tonight, a story about a young girl who's been given the gift of play. Ella Morton was born without bones in one of her hands. A traditional prosthetic hand would have cost up to $10,000. But thanks to one organization, Ella can play just like her sisters at no cost to her family. The story was produced by Mary Williams, a Gwen Eiffel Legacy Fellow from Hughes STEM High School in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Advanced technology is changing the way we all live our lives. But for 4-year-old Ella Morton and her mother, Heather, it has made a huge difference. Thanks to some engineering students and a 3-dimensional printer at the University of Cincinnati, Ella is able to enjoy the same activities as most children her age.
When Ella was born, she has no fingers. She has no bones in the palm of her hand. She has bones up to her wrist, and she can flex at her wrist, but that's pretty much where her bones stop. She's always been very outgoing and doesn't let anything stop her.
So, Ella, what do you call your special hand?
Lucky fan, because me and Mom have a lucky fan like me.
Eden Barkis, Jacob Granger, and Deshaun Anand are engineering students and members of Enable UC, a student group collaborating with Enable, an open source organization that provides a variety of cost-effective prosthetic assistive devices.
One of Enable UC's main missions is to provide 3D printed prosthetics for children. Prosthetics are very expensive and children grow at a rapid rate.
This is the second hand we've given Ella. And so like if she was buying a fully commercial, fully marketed prosthetic, every 2 years you're gonna need a new hand, where we can just be like, oh yeah, we'll just punch you off another one.
Biggest thing is getting the right measurements of the patient and understanding the mechanics of a patient, because each patient's a little bit different, and how they use their hand and how they hope to use their hand are all, different variables you have to take into account.
It's incredible that we can give someone a prosthetic and give them the opportunity to have full function in both hands.
Jacob Noor, now a medical student at the Cleveland Clinic, founded the Enable UC program in the fall of 2015 to promote 3D printing technology as a way to bridge the gap between engineering and medicine.
Ella, I will say, is probably my favorite. I mean, you could tell she lit up when we gave her this hand, and she was able to, catch a tennis ball for the first time ever, which is pretty amazing.
Ella's mother says her daughter can do so much more now that she has 2 hands.
I don't think they totally get how much of an impact they made on our family and Ella. The first thing that she's always said when she puts it on, she's like, look, I have 2 hands now, Mommy, just like my sisters, and I can hold both Barbies, and I can play, and I can do all the same things as my sisters do. Or I like to think that we've never made her feel different, but this just makes it feel more normal.
For PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs, I'm Mary Williams.
Great story. On the NewsHour Online, right?
Okay. Let's stop sharing. So what do we think, team? You can unmute or you can write in the chat. Is Ella's hand an invention or an innovation?
I would say it's an innovation.
Okay. Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's an innovation.
Okay. We're getting a lot of innovation. Okay. Why is it an innovation to you?
Because prosthetic hands were already created, they just made it more affordable.
Right. But what about the idea that nobody's ever invented or no one's ever created a 3D printed hand before? Is a 3D printed hand an invention? No one's ever created it before.
It's not a new technology, it's just a different way of making an existing one.
It's a different way of making an existing technology, but it's a funky turning point that you are creating something that is 100% new. No one had ever created a 3D printed hand up until about 10 years ago. So you could say they invented the 3D printed hand, but a 3D printed hand is an innovation of, a prosthetic hand. So that's just a very, I love that story. It was a junior in high school who produced that story. You knew too, when I was working with her, what was difficult was you knew it was going to get emotional, that this is such a touching story. How do you deal with that? And the bottom line is, as a filmmaker, you don't stop the camera. It may be a little embarrassing and you're possibly stepping on someone's privacy a little, but in the film world, you need those moments. Those are your golden moments to get real emotion on camera. So I just thought that would make everyone happy for the end of class. And let me just give you an idea of what we're going to be heading towards. So right now, you can be working on your quiz. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left in class. Everyone can fill out their quiz. It's going to ask 2 words. What is the word of the day? Define that word. And what's a picture of it that you feel represents that word? So is everybody finding the quiz? Here, let me go back to sharing and I'll just make sure. So when you look in the module, whoop, that's not where I want to be. When you look at our module for today, 922, this is where you're going to find your quiz. I think you can also look for it in quizzes, but you open this week 3 terms quiz, and that's going to, the terms and innovation is going to be your quiz in here. So it's just the standard. It's invention and innovation. And I think, what I'm looking for in terms of a definition is something along the lines of invention is the conception of a new and useful article, or you can leave off the useful. I won't dink you if you use it. Invention is the conception of a new article, machine, composition, process, or system. Innovation is the creation or introduction of something new to an already existing innovation, product, idea, or system. That also includes all the marketing and bringing to market effort. It is the creation and introduction of something new to an already existing invention. Let me just do a little dictionary look. Let's look up. Let's see what fabulous Google has to say. Invention, the action of inventing something, typically a process or device. Something, typically a process or device that has been invented. Now that is a really convenient, circuitous answer. Invention is creative ability. Well, these definitions are not very good. Okay, let's look at Merriam-Webster. We like Merriam-Webster. Invention, a device, contrivance, or process originated after study and experiment. Invention, a product of the imagination. Yes? So I'm liking our definitions at the end of our, so let's do innovation. Webster says an innovation is a new idea. That's weird. A new idea, method, or device. The introduction of something new. That's a really simplistic definition. It's the innovation. It would seem like you'd have to have to something old in this. The introduction of something new is an invention. But the introduction of something new to something old would be innovation in my mind. Let's look up, let's see what Google says. the action or process of innovating. Now, those are just terrible definitions. Here, I don't even like dictionary.com, but I'm just going to take a look. Something new or different introduced. The act of innovating. Introduction of new things or methods. Okay, those are pretty painfully bad. So I am very happy with our innovation that invention is the conception of a new article, machine, composition, or process. Innovation is the creation or introduction of something new to an already existing invention, product, idea, or system. If you like the idea that it's bringing things to market, because I've already showed those, they're discovering something new or novel for invention, or taking an invention and making it into a commercially viable product, service, or business, I'll take all of these. But I think it's good for us to understand what are the better or worse ways. Okay, class is over. You need to get moving. I will stop sharing. You can hang out if anyone has questions about the project. Jubeni, don't worry about getting your project. You're gonna have another week because you're just coming back in.
Wait, so we only have quiz